my name is HM3 Moulton, and welcome back to another episode of our Merit Choice Advancement Program series. Today, I had the honor of sitting down with HM1 Moore once again to kind of go into the primary duty and job performance section a little bit more in depth and get some of his knowledge and guidance regarding some of the subtopics in that section. But before we go any further with today's video, please, just another friendly reminder, if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out the previous video installments in this series. And please be sure to follow Lead360 on other social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube so you're up to date with all of the training that they put out. And without further ado, let's get into today's interview.
And I want to take a quick second to thank HM1 Moore for taking time out of his day again to sit down and talk with me about this. So thank you, HM1, for being here.
Of course, thanks for the invite.
You know, we've already gotten into some of the basics of MAP, and we have already kind of discussed those sort of things. I want to start by getting in the grading sheet by talking really specifically about a few things. I understand description and time and position is really, what you do for your job and you doing your job. And of course, accomplishments are the things that you're doing that are beneficial to your job. But the main ones that I want to talk to you about are starting with number of personnel supervised. How do you do that, especially for us when I was in HN at the E3, E2, E1 level? We're not NCOs. We don't have that leadership capability. How would you recommend we go about that, making ourselves really competitive?
So before we even get into this, I just want to add a quick disclaimer. This is the views of HM1 Moore. This is not the views of every first class, every chief, every whoever will be sitting your boards, because everybody graces differently. But HM3 asks a great question, and it's how do you work on your supervision when you're not technically in a leadership role? Really, you want to work on your supervision of whatever your Block 29 for your description is actually saying for your job title. So say you are a general duty corpsman or an advanced x-ray tech like myself, or even a field medical tech, right? You got to remember that your job is all about training your replacements. And it's how you train those people up. It's how you host those trainings and facilitate those trainings. It's how you ensure that everybody is doing the appropriate job so that everybody can come to work and everybody can go home from their work without loss of life or any kind of morale or anything like that. So really, my advice to you guys searching for leadership or supervision is just find out one or two things you do better than anybody else and make that your niche. But then get everybody else up to your level. So that way you're just raising the performance of the entire work center.
Piggybacking off of that, what would you say for professional knowledge and rating expertise, how would we go about making ourselves stand out in that aspect? Again, I'm trying to go from the perspective of me, who's brand new in the Navy. I don't have any really knowledge or expertise. How do I set myself apart from my peers?
So number one, just to at least make sure everybody's on par with each other. There's trainings out there. There's PMK-EE. There is PPMEs, BPMEs, IPMEs. There's those type of actual trainings that you can do. But then there's more specific ones depending upon your job scope. So say you work in the ER, right? Well, what's going to help you be a better ER corpsman or be an ER attendee or whatever it may be? Probably getting those EMT certifications, those PAL certifications, those ACLS certifications. The same thing when it comes to being a tech. You want to make sure that you get those national registries that will allow you to perform your job outside of your work center, out in town, and make you more marketable. Basically making the Navy better by making yourself better. Another big thing that you want to do is you want to get additional NECs. So there are certain jobs out there, like say you work in the PRT office. How are you going to be a CFL without having the 95 PT or the CFL NEC in a sense? How can you run the command's PRT program? So that right there, although it's technically not, you're not a PRT1 or, a ACFL, 3 or whatever it may be, it's still an NEC that backs your primary duty, which makes your professional knowledge a lot more impactful for your job scope.
Not to interrupt you too, but I know because I'm an ACFL, one of the ACFLs over there, he told me he got his nutritional certification, his personal trainer certification. So
oh, wow, yeah.
Stuff like that, I'm sure. Would you say that would definitely help you stand apart?
Oh, for sure. That'll put you well above your peers in all honesty, because nobody else has that. Everybody else is just hitting that minimal wicket to perform their job. But if you're going above and beyond to get other qualifications that support your duties, man, that's smart. You're on a good track there.
And then for Navy command and mission impact, what is that? How do I apply that to just me doing my job? How would you say that falls into this block?
So this one's a little bit trickier. And there's always no matter the levels, a lot of people always have difficulty answering this and writing to this on SOQ package, SOY, map, whatever it may be. Really do yourself a favor and relook at your eval or somebody else's eval from that command and look at that block 28, that mission statement. What is the command's mission statement? If you're a green side, is it helping warfighting capabilities? If you're on the ship, is it helping deployability capabilities? If you're at a readiness command, is it helping the readiness of the command and those tenant commands under you? Even instructor billets. You know, what are you doing to increase or decrease the attrition rate of the course that you're holding? So all those missions that you're filling at your command are impacting the Navy at a certain level because they're all building blocks. The blocks or the bricks of the house all have to be equally as strong in order to support the house, which is the Navy. If there is a brick that's a little bit weaker than any other, the whole entire thing's gonna be crumbling down. So I'm not sure if you guys got that analogy or whatever it may be, but just make sure that you as a HN, HM3, HM2, HM1, whoever, are backing the mission statement that's in your block 28. That's gonna take care of itself and fulfill the Navy's command mission impact.
I also want to hit on, what are some things that you see people missing or mistakes that people are making in regards to the primary duty and job performance block? So for example, I remember getting to the command, being shown this grading sheet, and I immediately just wanted to go absolutely like pedal to the metal. I wanted to go out for this collateral, that collateral, this duty, that duty. Yeah. And I remember my leadership was kind of reining me back in, and I kept wondering why. And I was a little upset and frustrated because I wanted to make myself very competitive from the get-go because I was going up against people that obviously had more time here than I did. But now looking back on it, I can see that I actually made more of an impact and made more of a name for myself from the quality of the work that I put in on that ward. And at midterms and at evals and just periodically throughout my tenure here, I would get pulled aside from my LPOs and my SELs, and they would say, hey, you're doing a really good job. You know, hey, I heard from so-and-so or this that you did a great job on this ward or that ward. So piggybacking off of that, you know, what would you say people are missing out on in regards to this block?
Yeah, you raise a great point, HM3 there. Just look at least at Walter Reed, if you look at the grading sheet, the very first thing besides the title of the grading sheet is that professional knowledge block. That is the very first point that's even getting graded, and that's for a reason. They want to see how good you are at your job. Why would you even be in the conversation for being meritoriously promoted if you couldn't perform your job at the next level? That's honestly one of the most important things, because if you look at the breakdown, it's out of 100 points. And half of that is stuff that you can control. Your education, your collaterals, your volunteer, your awards, that type of stuff. That's 50 points already thrown out the window. So of the remaining 50 points that's objective, 20 points of that is coming from your primary responsibility and your job performance. Honestly, a lot of people get caught up in the hospital game of, oh, I got to do this collateral, oh, I got to be here, oh, I got to go on this team, oh, I got to do that. When realistically, you're assigned to the hospital to take care of patients. It's not to manage the funds for the MWR, or it's not to instruct this class for this many people. Your main job, you're assigned here as a general duty corpsman, ER corpsman, a ward corpsman, whatever it may be, but your main job is to take care of the patients. I say all that to say this, that your primary responsibility, if you look at right under the first block, it says a description of your time and in your position. It's what you've done with the tools that you've been given, not the tools that you've gone out and seeked. That's honestly the most important and the most often overlooked thing. Too many corpsmen nowadays, you know, everybody gets caught up in the quotas and everybody gets caught up in, you know, the percentages and this, that, and the third. And well, this person is doing that, so they're getting, hey, that's their lane. Stay out of their lane. You work on your lane and you make your lane the most beautiful, perfect, bump-free lane. I guarantee you're going to go a lot further than other people who are swerving into other people's lanes. The other thing I want to hit on with that, as far as your job performance goes, it depends upon your platform that you're on as well. Now, there's certain people that are assigned as admin corpsmen or admin people. There's certain people who are assigned as ASF or MAs or security or whatever. And then there's certain people that are assigned for other platforms like Greenside and operational billets. Obviously, when you're operational, the job is more important. The mission always comes first. It's always the mission, the mission, the mission, the mission, the mission. They always have it easier to get promoted by doing their job on the operational side. Granted, there's smaller quotas because they're a smaller unit, but that's a conversation for another time. Here at the hospital, You still have to prioritize your job, though. Because if you don't do your job, that's 20 points out of the 100 points on the score sheet that you just left off the table.
Okay.
So you don't really give yourself that good of an opportunity to advance by not doing your job and not prioritizing your job scope.
Thank you so much to everyone for listening to today's episode, and thank you once again to HM1 Moore for taking time out of his day to sit down and give us some more insight about the Meritorious Advancement Program. I want to reiterate that this series, in and of itself, is still very brief in nature and is really only scratching the surface of the Meritorious Advancement Program. Please ensure that you're always getting with your leadership and your mentors and always reevaluating your progress in your journey for advancement. Also, please stay tuned for the next episode in this series where we start breaking down the salarization and mentorship section of the Meritorious Advancement Program grading sheet. As always, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.